Recent reports show office vacancy rates in downtown Seattle are trending upward. A 2025 CBRE report put it at just higher than 34%, as compared to a 2022 report from CBRE showing vacancy at a little more than 22%. A report from Commercial Cafe shows Seattle has the highest vacancy rate in the western U.S. market and nearly the country. Reports show rents have not adjusted much either. People visiting have noticed something is missing. Josh Porosky is in town from Dallas, Texas for a business conference.
To me, seeing them storefronts it's kind of sad, really, because it's a beautiful city. I mean, you got the pier right down there and there's empty storefronts. So the question is why?
To add to that, now Amazon Fresh and Go stores are set to close. John Scholes, president and CEO of the Downtown Seattle Association, says current vacancies are significant and historic, with employers taking less space and allowing remote work. There's also job growth elsewhere.
And our city leaders over the last 5 years have made us less than competitive. It's more expensive to be in Seattle than it is to locate a job in Bellevue, significantly more. And I think we have to take a hard look at that.
I think the capital...
For more than 10 years,
the majority of my clients have been Amazon.
Amazon employees made Kimberly Schaefer's business boom.
The last year, there was a pretty big shift in people coming in.
They worked with 23 relocation clients last year, including some Amazon employees. 21 of them moved out of Seattle. Monday was the first day more than 2,300 Amazon workers were laid off. This week, Meta announced more than 300 of their own, and Reuters is reporting thousands more Amazon workers could be laid off, though not all in Seattle.
I am very nervous about what's happening. I think there's a lot of uncertainty.
The State Employment Security Department reports nearly 17,000 more people are unemployed this year versus the same time last, with more than 6,000 fewer jobs in the state.
Downtown Seattle office vacancy rate hits record as market struggles to recover. Struggle is not the definition of what you've got going on in Seattle or the state of Washington in general. You've got so many different factors that are all combining to basically push businesses out, push wealthy people away from Washington, away from Seattle. And businesses aren't coming in. Businesses are going, oh, Seattle, that's a no-go zone. Let's go to Texas. Let's go to Florida. Let's go to, wherever, not Seattle. And that's how you get one of the highest vacancy factors in the United States. Let's dive in. Here we go. This first number right here, downtown Seattle's office vacancy hit record 39.1%. Now that is it's a very small defined area of basically just commercial area in downtown Seattle. You don't have, a huge mix of everything else. And it's very small geographically designed. And it's the core of downtown Seattle. Basically, 4 out of every 10 spaces are vacant. 39.1% in the fourth quarter. And if you don't follow vacancy factor in commercial real estate, that is a massive, massive number. Amazon and Microsoft mandated more in-office days for employees. Yes, Amazon has been 5 days a week since, it's been a while. I think it's been a while. And Microsoft just said, yep, you need to come back 3 days a week. But when you've got Amazon literally giving up space in downtown Seattle and moving their employees to Bellevue because Amazon recognizes that Seattle leadership with Seattle mayor, with a basically, taxing big business, you've got that on the books. You've also got a millionaire tax coming in, and we're going to take a peek at these. You've got a whole bunch of policy on top of a really questionable leader in newly elected Katie Wilson at the helm. She's never run anything in her life. She's never run her own life successfully. She's got parents paying bills. She had no clue what she's doing. And she's going to bring in a bunch of LGBTQ people to run things. That should work out fine. A bunch of DEI hires didn't earn it hires. So when you combine all that on top of all this layered policy, and then you've got the crime factor in downtown, you've got McStabbies. That's the McDonald's on the Blade, Pike and Pine and 3rd Avenue. It's literally known worldwide as McStabbies, because you could get a Big Mac there, but you could also get stabbed, shot, murdered. Who knows? Because there's been so many public safety incidences there. All AI companies aren't leasing entire buildings. So we always go to, yeah, but AI is coming to town. Well, even if it does, the AI footprints seem to be pretty small. They're not taking down massive amounts of space because they don't need it. They got a couple of guys sitting there programming, hooking up all their AI agents, doing all that good stuff. They don't need 1 million employees because AI is literally replacing all those other employees. And then during the pandemic, we had knucklehead leadership go, we're all going to work from home forever. And then that didn't work out because your tax base in the downtown core is absolutely faltering. So when you see all of these liberals say, we're running on a campaign of increasing affordability, you have zero ability to do that. And especially when you're looking at massive budget deficits, you're going to have to increase taxes. And that's where we sit. Downtown Seattle's office vacancy rate climbed to a record high in 2025, showing the market is still struggling, even in its worst days, even if its worst days are behind it. I don't think they are. Because now, the rest of the country, with the exception of like Denver, is starting to make, significant comebacks. But they don't have Looney Tune, folks that are socialists that are literally boycotting companies in their own city, like Starbucks. Literally. That happened with Katie Wilson, our new mayor. She came right out and said, yeah, we're boycotting Starbucks. Okay, nice. Well done. Okay, yeah. And when you have a big budget deficit, we're going to point to you and say, well, how did you support local? Oh, you didn't boycott Starbucks because, yeah. And then you've got some of the highest hourly wages in the United States, in Seattle. You've got the highest of everything, the things that you don't want. Recovery in the office market could still be a long way off. He cautioned against putting too much weight on what the vacancy rate means for the health of the office market in post-COVID times, pointing to other indicators like building sales and how many companies are requiring in-office work. Because the downtown vacancy factor is horrific. 39%, that is terrible. That is atrocious. Terrible. And it's because of leadership decisions. Just go ahead. Let people do a bunch of drugs. Pike and Pine and Third, the Blade. Go ahead. Let them just do drugs out in the open. It's all good. Let them shoot each other. Let them stab each other. And then you got all kinds of taxes, all kinds of regulations. Businesses don't want to go in. Businesses have been closing up for years, literally years and years. Anthropology just left. Seattle's overall office vacancy rate was 33.4% last quarter, according to Colliers, with net absorption essentially flat. Okay, so you don't have more businesses coming in than are leaving. In contrast with year-end total of negative 1.5 million square feet, you have empty 1.5 million square feet. That is nuts. Absolutely crazy. We're in for a potential slower period than we're used to. Remote work is common, even if it's starting to fade at some companies, but it's still there. And guess what? Businesses that do want to take down space, they are not taking space in Seattle. They are taking space in Bellevue. They're taking space in Redmond. They are taking space anywhere but Seattle. Because why would you move your business to Seattle? Why would you start up more space in Seattle? You wouldn't. Scariest time economically since the Great Recession. Layoffs hit struggling Seattle region. We're on the struggle bus. The tech market is shrinking. You got all that AI coming in, eliminating tons of jobs. You had big businesses in Seattle that hired tons and tons and tons and tons of employees. And all those employees, they basically drove the city. Now you're going the other direction. You've got the Great Recession. And I think Seattle, I just did a video where I predicted Seattle is on the front end of a recession. We are in it right now. So, Great Recession. Yeah. You got 2,300 Amazon employees that just got fired in October. You got probably another 2,600 that are being fired right now. As stores and restaurants leave downtown Seattle, there's hope. More will return. You see all these interviews of people saying, well, I hope they come back. And, what you're left with is hope ain't going to do it. Lower taxes, lower restrictions, lower regulations, more incentives, safer streets, cleaner streets, no whacked out, drugged out nut jobs running around, shooting each other, stabbing each other with spears, machetes. No more of that, because you can go to other areas of downtowns in other parts of the country. They don't have any of this nonsense. So, why would you go to Seattle to do all this? You wouldn't. So there's hope more will return. Well, that's about all downtown Seattle has going for it, other than the fact, and this is the crazy part, you've got one of the most beautiful settings overlooking Puget Sound, the Olympics in the background. You got a big, huge wheel, going around. You've got a waterfront park that is absolutely epic. But because of city leadership, because of city policy, because of Democrats don't know how to run businesses, Democrats know how to push businesses out. Because of that, we've got almost 40% vacancy in what is one of the most beautiful settings in all of the country. Make that make sense, Democrats. And this is all on you, because Democrats have been in control of Washington State for 40 years. And Seattle, we've got a socialist mayor. We've got Mamdani Jr., right? We've got Mamdani Jr. in Seattle. Not quite as bad, because she doesn't know as much. She doesn't really know what she's doing. But, we'll give her a run. We'll see how she does, and, we'll get back to you. How about this? A supersonic tax hike. Seattle would have America's highest top marginal rate if a Washington millionaire's tax passes. Oh, that's perfect. I mean, that's epic. I want that. We're going the wrong way, folks. Washington State, Seattle is going the wrong way. And the reason this won't be able to be reversed is because it's an overspending problem. We have overspent mightily, and you're going to have to tax whomever is left, what other businesses are left, in order to make up the difference for folks that are leaving, for businesses that are leaving. And that is happening in droves. There are people going, this doesn't make sense anymore. This doesn't pencil. This does not make sense. So you got a millionaire's tax. Going to tax you making more than $1 million. They're going to tax you. 10%. It's nuts. Washington considers payroll tax on large companies to offset federal cuts. They're moaning and complaining about money they're not getting from the Trump administration. Meanwhile, they're taxing the absolute heck out of their own constituents, but they're pointing to Orange Man Bad, Trump, going, oh, it's Trump's fault. We're not getting the money that we need. Oh. And you're like, well, why don't you cut some of these programs that are just absolutely absurd? So we've got a payroll tax. And this is absolutely psycho, because we've seen what happens to Amazon when City Council of Seattle put a payroll tax on Tax Amazon. And Amazon said, go F yourself, we're moving to Bellevue. And so they've been pushing thousands and thousands of employees to Bellevue. So we've got this going on. You can see all of these factors, including safety. Safety downtown on top of mind, even as new data shows dip in crime, rise in foot traffic. Every day that goes by, there is some crazy nut job news story in downtown Seattle, because you got a bunch of whacked out drug addicts just running around stealing stuff and doing their thing, because we allow it. We tolerate it. We do not have a relentless enforcement of the law like Oklahoma does. And I give that as a polar opposite example of what's going on in Washington, because you've got misguided leadership. You've got Democrats that couldn't work their way out of a wet paper bag. And it's impacting businesses. And that's how you end up with either the first or the second, kind of depending on who you look at data from, highest vacancy factor in all of North America. Huh, weird. Why is that? It's like that one dude from Dallas at the beginning of this. Now, why is this happening? Well, because leadership has run businesses out, period. Through policy. That's what's happened. How about this? Seattle tackles neighborhood food deserts with grocery store legislation. This is how bad things get, is you've got major businesses. You've got Kroger basically shutting down Fred Meyer, big grocery store, big, buy everything store. And then leaving the area with a food desert. You've got Amazon Fresh and Amazon Go ceasing operations. This isn't working out. Plus, we don't really want to be in downtown Seattle. You've got that happening. But you've literally got a, mayor that is saying, well, we're going to do some city-run grocery stores. That should be, if private companies can't make it, why do you want to piss away taxpayers' dollars? Well, because that's what Seattle does. That's what a socialist city does. They absolutely piss away hard-working taxpayers' money on social welfare programs that are completely unnecessary. But then they point at it and go, oh, we need that. We have to have that. Greatest thing ever. A wave of restaurant and bar closures is hitting Seattle because you got the highest minimum wage basically in the country for a big city. You're over $21 an hour. And these businesses are saying, we can't compete. We cannot, or the math doesn't math. The math is not mathing. We can't pay our employees and make a profit. We're out. We're done. That has happened to so many restaurants because the numbers simply don't work. But when you've got socialists, when you've got progressives in charge, all they look at is, well, the workers can't afford to live in Seattle, therefore we've got to raise their wages. Doesn't work that way, folks. Capitalism doesn't work that way. If you want to work at Starbucks, you're worth about $15 an hour, right? And if you want a big boy job, then you go to college and then you go to do something else and you get some experience and you work your way up, right? I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. Or you go into another industry that's going to pay more than $15 an hour, which is what you are worth if you're pouring coffee. Simple as that. This whole notion that, well, the employees can't work here, that's a socialist deal. It's a pay-to-play environment. That's what capitalism is. And Seattle isn't working that out. And that's how a wave of restaurant and bar closures is hitting Seattle. Higher minimum wage is combined with the usual seasonal factors to put some businesses in a very hard spot. You're going to see more and more closures. You're going to see more and more downtown businesses close up. We're not going in the right direction. The overall optics in Seattle, in Washington State, are gloomy. How about that? Let's start using gloomy. They're gloomy. Because right now we're in that gloomy season of weather here in Seattle. You wake up every single day, and if there's sun out there, you're like, oh, holy cow. It's going to rain later in the day, or it's going to be cloudy, guaranteed. But, we're in that seasonally. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be cloudy. It's going to drizzle a little bit. It rained last night. It's probably going to rain today. It's probably going to rain tomorrow. We're kind of used to it, but it's gloomy, meaning there's no great outlook because we are still, July 5th. We're end of January now. July 5th is where we need to get some good weather. Downtown Seattle, waiting until July 5th for better business environment to happen will not be happening because things are going the opposite way. Big tech is firing people. Amazon is firing people. The businesses that are around are moving to Bellevue because we're not nut jobs like Seattle. Just telling you the way I see it, based on facts, based on science, based on data. And I'll keep doing that. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining. Bye for now.